Hey, Tyler.
Hey, buddy, how are you, man?
Pretty good.
Good
How you
morning.
doing?
How you doing? I'm
I
good. I'm good.
now the show this year is David versus Goliath. Explain what that is. What's the concept?
So it's rookies versus pros, and it is such a great season because we've always in the back of our mind thought, should we do an all-pro season and just have professional food trucks go head to head? And we may still do that, but what we thought this year was let's take folks that have all the heart and passion and really want to have a food truck and kind of put them head to head in a real life scenario on the streets in Los Angeles and go head to head with professional food truck teams and see if they can keep up. And it was fascinating. It was so wild. It was like a little test that we kind of threw out there. And so this season we have 9 teams. We have 4 professional teams going head to head with 5 rookie teams and slugging it out for a chance at $50,000.
So, what surprised you the most about seeing the rookies versus the seasoned citizens, if you will, of the food trucks?
Because they almost had nothing to lose, right? So the professional food trucks, they have their systems, they have their strategies, they have their formulas, they have the recipes, and a lot of the food truck teams, the rookie teams, like let's experiment, let's play around, and let's see if we can get better every single episode, every single leg of the race. And then so I think they were kind of borrowing from some of the successes with what I like to call professional DNA of the professional food truck teams, and then they were just leaping every single episode, every single leg. They were just getting better and better and better. But listen, by the time you get like 2 or 3 episodes in this, all of them are great.
When it comes to choosing contestants, do you have a say in this?
Well, I when we get to like the final selection, there is a big conversation, because there's something inside all the teams that feels really kind of fun and relevant, and
Mhm.
so I think we like to kind of kick it around. So there's definitely a casting process for sure.
When it comes to being on the road for this, about how long are you doing this for?
It takes about 6 weeks. So, yeah, so
Uh,
we shot this from February, end of February to the 1st of April,
okay,
in LA, and it was the weather was really great. It was nice and sunny and warm. That's the reason we like to shoot in LA, just because it's not snowing,
right.
and we have a great time doing it.
Yeah, you were in my neck of the woods where I grew up in Vermont a couple of years ago, and I laughed when I saw that. I'm like, the challenges you would face in some of these rural areas between cell phone signal, access to grocery stores, Mother Nature at her finest.
Yeah.
My nephews actually work up on Killington, so I know exactly. I watched that. I'm like, now that is a challenge like no other because, again, these seasoned, these rookies, doesn't matter who you are, that levels the playing field in a hurry because access, accessibility, and location are monumental to what you do. I've watched multiple seasons of the show over the years. And when I saw that, I'm like, now that right there is going to be a chess match to figure out.
Listen, weather is fun to shoot in, that's for sure. Because sometimes we'll get a rainy day in production. I'm like, let's shoot, let's go. Because I think it's always kind of interesting to see what Mother Nature can throw into the mix from a challenging standpoint. But that season that we were up in around the holidays, we were up in New England, and you just said Killington.
Yeah.
I grew up when I lived in New York City for 15 years, and we would go to Killington all the time. So I kind of learned how to snowboard in Killington, which is awesome. I love that hill. It's such a great mountain. And then the weather for the Great Food Truck Race that particular season was super challenging because, like, have you ever seen a food truck that's stuck in the snow? That's
Yes.
a lot of fun.
Okay. They're not built for that. Their transaxles are
They're
not
not.
built to
Yeah.
come out of snow. That's
They're
my
not.
world. People
Yeah.
laugh at me. I'm like, that's why snow tires are a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. That's why clearance is a great thing. And then our daughter lives just outside New York City now, and she's like, nobody knows what I'm talking about with snow tires here. I'm like, because you're now in another world. Even though New York and Vermont sit side by side, whole new world, kiddo.
That's true.
Whole new
Whole new
world.
world, kiddo.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Snow tires don't fit on a food truck. It's
No.
hysterical.
No, I would love to see a food truck with studded tires, though. That would be
Yeah.
that'd be a sight to behold.
Off-roading. Yeah.
Now, when you're going, from location to location during those types of seasons, do you ride along or do you fly on the Guy Fieri copter?
Uh, well, I'm with this, kind of neck to neck with the teams the whole time. But I do have there's a talent car picks me up at the end of the day. But we have such a good time shooting the show, and the show is like real. Like we're out there, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day. because it's a really like a docudrama.
Mhm.
It's not shot in studio; it's like shot on the streets. So in a lot of ways, like we're open for business, like with normal hours of operation for a restaurant.
Now, have you done any shows where you actually get to cook
On the food
Well,
truck. Yeah.
so
on Food
well,
Network? Have you done specials and celebrity editions and all that where you actually get to cook?
well, this is my 27th year on the network,
Yeah.
and so over the years, I've had very successful seasons
Yeah.
and runs of shows. So we had Tyler's Ultimate that was on for 8 years.
Mhm.
We've done a lot of cooking on Food
Okay.
Network for sure. I've written 17 cookbooks. Yeah, we have a ton of stuff. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Bobby Flay or Guy Fieri, which one can you beat head to head?
Well, I think both of them are super talented, by the way, and in a couple of different genres, and both really, really good friends of mine, by the way. And so I think it would be a fun, cook along cooking competition to see us go head to head. I think that would be great.
Now, if you could pick one person that you've worked with on Food Network or you haven't, that you'd say, if I went like mano a mano, but as a team, who would you team up with and who would you want to go against? Like a few years ago, you were on Worst Cooks and you were one of the people, and Anne seems to have that on lockdown. And I still can't figure out who uses more hair gel, if it's her or Guy. But that being said, who would you pick as your teammate and who are the two that you'd want to challenge, whether it's Food Truck or any other Food Network show? Because like you said, you're going on 3 decades. So you've done a little bit of everything on there. And I know there's still more to do.
Yeah, I love the competition stuff. I mean, there's so much of that on Food Network for sure. God, who would it be? I would definitely like Duff Goldman actually is so surprisingly not just a great pastry chef and a great cake maker, but the man can roll in the kitchen. Like his savory stuff is exquisite. Like he actually worked at the French Laundry early in his career. He would be my partner because I think I would do savory and he would do sweet stuff. So I think that would be a good matchup. And then I don't know. So if it was me and Duff, like who would you want us to see go up against?
Oh,
Who's your dream team?
I would love to see you go heads up against Anne because I've seen you go against her in other reality, but not cook head to head against each other. So I think her, because she's really good at savory. She
Anytime.
loves salt. She loves salt. So she would
Yeah,
need
she
somebody to
does.
counterbalance her with the sweets. Who would you put? Because I know I've seen Duff cook in other competitions too. He's been in things like Chopped, and he does bring a savory element, but he also can add that touch of sweetness, which of course brings out the savory and the umami in it. But who would you put with Anne that you think would be kind of level peg that would really give you a run for your money?
God, who would that be? Who would be a fun head to head with Anne and
Because she's an energy. She's an intense energy.
yeah, she's so lovely. I mean,
Yes.
I did that show for 8 seasons,
Yes.
as a co-host, and God, we had so much fun, especially like Worst Cooks in America. And people ask me all the time, like, who, yeah, is that show real? Like, do those people? Can they really not cook? I'm like, it
Mhm.
is as real as anything.
Your
And
facial
and so
expressions tell it all on that show. There's no poker face when you see some of the things they're doing in those kitchens below you when you're up there judging and coaching them.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching these people like somewhere life has failed these folks. I don't even know like how do you get to work every day? Like some of these like things are so simple, but where that show starts and where that show ends is such a beautiful progression
Yes.
because they want to learn how to cook and they want to jump into it. So it's always kind of fun to see people progress and live through the competition and put everything into it.
One question for me. Not that I can afford it, but do you do like private parties?
So we have I'm a professional chef. We
Yeah.
have 3 restaurants in the city of San Francisco, about to be 5,
Wow.
and so we do catering all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Would
Yeah.
if I had the money and I wanted to hire you
Would you do
to
a
come
chef's
cook my
table?
barbecue,
Or
would you
do a
come?
chef's table
Do
or
you do
something?
that?
Yeah, so as a matter of fact, you say barbecue, which I'm so passionate about that genre, man. I just crush it. I grew up in the South, so barbecue sauce and pulled pork
Mm.
were kind of in my baby bottle growing up. So we're actually about to launch a barbecue pop up at my restaurant in San Francisco for the summer. So we're at the Chase Center,
Uh,
home of the Golden State Warriors, and we're launching this barbecue pop up on July 6th, so the Thursday after July 4th, which is gonna be super fun. So yeah, so Wagyu brisket, smoked over whiskey oak,
oh
Ooh.
which
wow.
is kind of wild. We have this, yeah. Oh my God, it's fantastic. So there's a whiskey distillery guy up in Sonoma County that's given us a bunch of barrels that we're going to be smoking chunks of whiskey soaked French oak, which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
So what are
With
you
like
doing with all
Detroit
your free
chicken.
time? Because it sounds like you've got like 8,000 projects going on as usual.
Well, it always kind of feels like that, but we have such a great team. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a couple hundred employees, right? So like between our restaurants and our
Mm.
production companies for what we do. So I get a chance to kind of jump in the mix with my team all the time. And our corporate chef is such a dear friend of mine. He's been with me for almost like 13 years now. And so we're constantly developing new concepts all the time. We're about to launch in Hawaii.
Mm.
So we're opening Miller and Lux, which is our steakhouse in San Francisco.
Mm.
We're going to launch the Four Seasons Hawaii towards the end of this year, which is going to be super fun. So we have a bunch of fun projects, but to me, like my day to day focus is flavor of the food. So we get a chance to kind of get into the mix and make sure everything is just awesome.
Well, the show comes out Sunday. It's a great food truck race, David versus Goliath. Can't wait to see it. It's been great talking to you, Tyler.
All right, you too, buddy.
And
Thank you so
keep
much. I
everything
appreciate your
up.
time.
We love watching you. You're doing great stuff out there, and it's fun to watch for us as viewers too. So we appreciate that, especially doing what we do.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys as well. Have a
Thanks,
great
All
day.
right, take care, Tyler.